In this episode, I'm going to share with you how to effectively communicate. I'm going to share with you 4 strategies on how to communicate more effectively in any situation. Stay tuned until the end for the bonus strategy that enhances all the previous strategies. I'm Carla Hunt, CEO and founder of Prioritizing Peace and the host of the Unapologetically Prioritizing Peace podcast. I'm a licensed master of social work and have a bachelor's in political science and psychology. I'm the prioritizing expert helping you to create the elusive work-life balance by prioritizing and organizing your time so that you have clarity in your executing your purpose and have more enjoyment in both your life and your business. Welcome to episode 19. We are going to talk about how to effectively communicate. So what is communication? The formal definition of communication is a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through common systems of symbols, signs, or behavior. Another definition I read is the successful conveying or sharing of ideas and feelings. I think the second definition is more profound, to successfully convey or share ideas and feelings. A lot of times, our communication is not successful upon sharing. I feel that we live in a culture where clear, direct communication is still seen as a form of aggression. So we find ourselves making all these wild-ass guesses and interpretations from subtle, unclear hints and incomplete forms of communication to try and figure out what someone else is trying to tell us. It is one thing to try to figure out what a nonverbal baby wants or needs when it's crying, but it's very different when a verbal adult is just refusing to tell you in a clear, direct way what they want or need, and you have to figure it out because they said something like, "No, I'm not mad," or "You should know why." Who has ever experienced some of that? How frustrating is it when you are genuinely trying to resolve a conflict and the other person expects you to just know, like you're a mind reader? Believe it or not, successful communication requires at least 2 willing and active participants. There is a sender and a receiver. I'm not going to get into all the technicalities of the communication loop, but long story short, you have to complete the loop of transmission for communication to work. To illustrate the communication loop in action, however, I'm going to give you an example. Do you remember when we were kids, especially if you're from the 80s or 90s, and we would send people notes that said, "Do you like me? Check yes or no." The sender encodes the message by writing the note and then passing the note is the communication channel. The receiver decodes the note by reading it and then either checking yes or no and giving the note back to the person is the feedback, thus closing the loop. I enjoy this example because how often are you talking to someone you like and you have no idea if they like you back? Back then, we were able to get clear and quick answers. I say we bring back the idea of the note, but instead start texting people and say, "Do you like me? Yes or no?" and see what happens. If you get a yes, perhaps ask some follow-up questions such as, what kind of relationship are you interested in, if any? Do you have the time for a relationship? Are you emotionally available for a relationship? I digress, but we live in a culture where communicating our needs, wants, and intentions is extremely unclear, and no one seems willing to start the conversation. The first strategy for effectively communicating is being an active and willing participant. You can't control other people, but you can control how you show up to a conversation. My clients have told me that I make them feel heard and understood. Have you ever worked with a coach or counselor that has made you feel unheard or misunderstood? It does not feel good. When you show up to a conversation with your active listening ears on and you are fully engaged to actually hear the other person rather than just immediately respond, you will have better communication. This means that you are fully present and looking at the person and not your phone. You are allowing yourself not to be distracted by the many things that we can easily be distracted by. It takes practice and effort to avoid the distractions. Please remember, you are human and we get distracted. Just return to the conversation. Ask the person to repeat if necessary. The next strategy first comes with another one of my famous examples. Y'all, I love examples and metaphors. If you didn't already know, to give you some background information, I have to tell you that an apology without change of behavior is manipulation. If you are actually sorry about something, apologize, but please make sure that you are planning on changing your behavior to not continue to do what you are apologizing for over and over and over again. Now, for the example, I had an accountability partner once upon a time. I expressed that my feelings were hurt, that they had been late to our accountability meetings a few times, and this last time they had missed our meeting completely. When I expressed my feelings of frustration for the lack of communication, for any delays or a need to cancel, I was immediately met with an apology. And then, without being prompted, they gave me the ways in which they were going to prevent these issues from happening in the future. Strategy number 2 is responding without ego and taking accountability. In this example here, this person didn't get defensive. Instead, they took accountability and responsibility for their actions and proceeded to not only apologize, but also identify the steps to correct their behavior going forward. How many times when you have expressed your feelings to someone, the receiver of information responds from ego and is defensive? That's really frustrating, to say the least, when you've opened yourself up and were vulnerable, right? This goes back to a cross between episodes 16 and 17. Just because you don't understand someone's feelings doesn't mean that they're invalid. Validating how a person feels also doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you did something terribly wrong. It just means you have to do your part to rectify the situation and change your behavior. That's really what it comes down to, is doing your part so that the other person feels heard and they're respected and their feelings are being validated when appropriately expressed. I also want to state here that the sender needs to be expressing their feelings in productive ways. If you are finding value from this episode, please give it a like and share it on social media so that this value can reach others. Strategy number 3 is using I statements. For example, if you are genuinely expressing your feelings to someone, you need to be doing so in a manner that also doesn't elicit defensiveness. You should be saying things like, I feel, rather than you made me. You are going to want to keep the reasons why you feel the way that you do objective and factual. I'll give you 2 examples and you tell me which one that you are more receptive to. Example 1. I feel hurt because I feel I do the majority of the household chores on a regular basis and I don't feel supported the way I need to be by you. Example 2 is, you made me mad because you're always acting like I'm your maid, got me wiping down all these damn counters in the kitchen all day long. Serious question from y'all, which one are you more receptive to? And tone does play into this, and you have to take that into consideration to mind your tone when you are communicating with people as well. If you are not able to have productive conversations, then you really should consider one-on-one coaching to improve your communication. When I work with my clients and we prioritize communication, their relationships significantly improve and they are much happier. Strategy number 4 is asking for clarification. When we assume, we make an ass out of you and me. We must always be open to asking for clarification when we don't fully understand something, rather than assuming we understood what was meant and by making our own interpretations about the meaning. How often do you experience miscommunications that could have been avoided if you had just asked for clarification? In these instances, when you're mad because you misunderstood what someone meant and then started brooding and seething with that misinformation, and then the person you're mad at is mad because you're mad at them and they don't even know why you're even mad. Anyone? Yeah. It's great to create TV and movie drama. It's just not great for real life communication. Just ask questions and ask for clarification to better understand what the other person means and intends to communicate. You can also do this by mirroring back to the person what they just said and paraphrasing. For example, if I just said, I want to go get tacos, you can mirror back to me by saying, what I'm hearing you say is you want to go get tacos. Is that correct? And then I would say, yes, that's correct. And then to ask for clarification, you could also ask, are you wanting me to go with you, or do you want me to take you to get tacos? From there, it opens up more dialogue and more questions can be asked. Although we think we are being clear and direct in our communication, it doesn't always come out this way. So we can help each other out by being willing to ask for clarification and ask furthering questions. And from there, we can get to the clear and direct answers. The bonus strategy that enhances all the previous strategies is timing. Asking a few simple questions to see if someone is emotionally available for certain conversations or has the ability to give you their attention for the information you want to send them is key for success. How often has someone said something to you while you were watching TV and then asked you about it later and you have no idea what they were talking about? That's because they did not have your attention. Simply and politely request to have someone's attention. You can coordinate a time when you can have their attention, like scheduling an in-person date, a Zoom meeting, or my personal favorite is asking them to pause the TV and put the phone down so you can make direct eye contact with each other. Making direct eye contact is really a lost art. If you are wanting to express your emotions or feelings to someone, start by asking things like, how was your day? How did you sleep? Have you eaten yet? These are questions to give you a fuller range of their mental and physical state so you can better gauge if they are in a good place to have the conversation you want to have. And if everything is good, then you can proceed stating that you'd like to have a conversation with them about how you feel about a certain situation. And try to be specific as possible. The old "can we talk" phrase that's left usually with a long period of time gap stresses people out, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing or breakup related. So be specific in your intentions to have a conversation and what the conversation is about to eliminate the stress on the other person for what the conversation is for. Talking about things is a healthy part of communication and relationships. Communication is powerful. Not only do you have the opportunity to give people the gift of feeling heard when you truly listen, but also the gift of feeling seen. If you are an overwhelmed startup solo entrepreneur, I would love to help you prioritize and organize your time so that you have clarity in executing your purpose and have more enjoyment in both your life and your business. The best way to eliminate overwhelm is by prioritizing. My information is in the description below to connect with me and schedule a free discovery call.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Unapologetically Prioritizing Peace video podcast with your host, Carla Hunt. If you have any questions or would like to suggest a topic, please email me at hello@prioritizingpeace.com.